their grandparents. They were staying with their grandparents for one summer, and the little boy for his birthday got a slingshot. And he loved that slingshot. Of course, his grandparents were a little nervous about him having a slingshot running around the yard. He's got all day to do nothing, which is a good way to get into trouble, right, guys? So he liked picking up little acorns or little rocks and shooting it at trees, I guess, or trying to hit a leaf off of a branch, and that got old really quick. So then he started to try to see if he can pick off a bird in a tree. And you know what? Those birds are hard to shoot with a slingshot. So then he tried to hit some squirrels, and you know what? Those squirrels are kind of hard to hit with a shot, because they're quick, aren't they, guys? They're quick. And one day he's acting like he's like a secret slingshot ninja or something, creeping around the back of the grandma's house, and heard something, a little critter crawling around behind, coming around, and he looks around with a slingshot, shot his grandma's favorite duck, killed it. Just like that. And as soon as he let that little pebble go, he knew, oh man, I'm in trouble. Big trouble. Okay, so he's nervous. So then he takes grandma's duck and he's like, maybe I can go bury grandma's duck somewhere and nobody will ever think about it. Maybe I can show the state mail. Maybe he just flew south for the winter. Okay? You know, he's 7 months ago. So he picks up the duck and he goes around behind a tree in the backyard somewhere and he kind of buries it real quick and turns around and thinks, man, I think I got away with that. Turns around and guess who's standing there? His sister. And she's like, I know what you did. I own you because I know what you did. And if you do anything, if you don't do what I want you to do, guess what? I'm going to tell Grandma that you just killed her favorite duck. And he's like, oh man, I am so much trouble. So anyway, he goes to dinner that night. He's sitting down and he's sitting in his chair, and sister's sitting straight across from him, and Grandpa's on one side and Grandma's on the other side, and they're eating, and he's just kind of picking at his food because he's like, man, when's the shoe going to drop, right? Well, she just looks at him. You know, she's like looking at him the whole time, you know, doing this kind of thing, right, Scott? And Grandpa says, he goes, you know what? It's such a beautiful evening. The sun goes down about 9 o'clock, so it's still bright outside. He's like, I think I'm going to take Joey fishing after dinner. Why don't you ladies go ahead and clean up, you know, do the dishes? And sister looks at him and she goes, you know what? I think he wants to wash the dishes tonight. I think he wants to let me go fishing. And you know, the brother's sitting there and he's like, yeah, Grandpa, I want to wash the dishes tonight. I don't want to go fishing, right? And she's like, that's right, you want to do the dishes tonight, don't you? Right? Well, the next day the same thing happens. They sit down at the table, they're eating, and Grandpa says, you know what? I think I'm gonna go out to the workshop. We're gonna start building a birdhouse. I think I'm gonna show a grandson here how to build a birdhouse. And he's like, oh, he's getting all excited about it. And his sister's like, I think he wants to wash the dishes again, and I think he wants to let me go out there and work with Grandpa in the workshop. And he's like, yeah, I would love to wash the dishes again. So he's in the kitchen, and he's half-heartedly washing the dishes while his sister's out there hanging out with Grandpa doing what he wants to do, you know. And his grandma comes up and puts her hand on his shoulder, and she's like, what's the matter, buddy? And he's like, nothing.